Welcome to the Army Empire Podcast, your go-to podcast for insightful tips on investment strategies, entrepreneurship, and all things money matters. Join Bernard Alerte, your guide on this journey to financial freedom. Each episode will dive into expert advice, practical strategies, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your financial future. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned investor, we've got something for everyone. So get ready to unlock your financial potential and make your money work for you. And now, let's welcome your host, Bernard Alerte.
Oh, yeah. It's that time again.
Yes. Hi. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Bernard?
Very excited. Very excited to be here. It's gonna be awesome today. Yes.
All right. So what's going on with the collar? What does that say there?
It says good vibes only. It says good vibes only.
All right, good vibes
Good
only.
vibes only.
Listen, I'm seeing the numbers going up. So thank you all for watching. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and we are live on Instagram. I'm going to be playing a little bit with our Instagram profile. I want to make sure that all of our episodes are up there live, so that way you can go back and see them. So you're going to notice a change tomorrow when I see Bernard and Eileen. We're going to go in there and make sure that all the episodes are on the profile of the Instagram page, because we know a lot of people are going back to watch certain episodes.
Yes, they are.
It means a lot to us to know that you're going back and you're listening again, taking additional notes, because we're learning so much from our coach. So let's see who's saying hello. The first one, my husband.
Yes. Robert, my man Rob.
Good evening, coach. We're ready today. So go ahead and let us know that you're watching and that you're excited about today's episode. All right, Bernard, take it away. What do we got going on?
We're gonna talk, like last week. We talked about budgeting. We talked a lot about budgeting, about things, how your budget should look like, right, and the mindset you got to have when it comes to budgeting. But one thing we want to talk about is how do I put all together? How do I build my financial house? How do I go from building my financial house, right? So, and the question always asks, how is your financial house? Right. And I think back is that I want to use an analogy, how you build, let's actually life house versus your financial house. And there's a lot of similarities between both of them. We're fortunate enough about I guess 3.5 years ago, we were building a house in Florida 3.5 years ago. When I think back, the things that we had to do just to get it started, right? Think about things that we have when you're building a house, right? The first thing, you got to have some kind of blueprint. You have to have you need to have a picture what your house look like, either a model home like this. I want it to look like this, right? Or some kind of blueprint that you actually be able to follow that tells you exactly where everything is. So that's the first thing you got to have. The second thing, I'm sorry, you have to hire a builder, right? You have to hire someone that's going to help you build a house, right? And on top of that, that's the second step. Someone that you trust that's going to do the right job, right? That's going to build your house the right way. And the third thing you have to get permits. You have to get license permits. You have to get building permits from the town. You have to get electrical permits, HVAC, all these different things you have to do, right? Necessary permits before you even start building a house, right? And the next step, then after you've done that, you have to clear the property, right? Yep. You have to totally clear the property. You have to get all the dirt, clear the property. You have to level the property. You have to survey the property. And also you have to prepare it for the foundation. Then you have to prepare the property to get the foundation started. Then after you get the foundation, that's the next step, right? To get the foundation started, built. On top of that, then you build a frame on the house. Then you have to go on the windows, right? But the crazy part is there's a sequence to building an actual house. There's a sequence, right? And I remember when we were because during that time, it was like 2021, there was a shortage of building material, because during COVID, there was a shortage of building material, and we didn't get windows till about 5 to 6 months to get windows. So the building was at a standstill until they got the windows.
Yeah. Right? Wow, I didn't know that.
Exactly. So they had to get the windows first. Then after the windows, then you can actually add different things, electrical, plumbing, and the rest. Then the rest of the process. Well, Bernard said, well, what does that actually relate to actually building your financial house? The answer is everything. Because what do you have to do to build your financial house? You need to have a clear picture what you want your finances to look like. You need to have a clear idea in your future. This is where I want to be. Like, even like we talk about the pie chart, right? This is where I want my finance. This is where I want to be. So you have to, just like a house, you need to have a clear, concise mental picture. Exactly. This is what my house needs to be like, right? And you got to have some kind of plan, financial plan that you follow step by step, just like a blueprint that's going to show you exactly what's supposed to happen.
Right.
Right. Then on top of that, what's the next step? Now, the next step after that, you have to what? You have to hire the right person to help you with that. And the right person, you have to have the permits, the right licenses. So who should you have helping you build your financial house? Make sure they are fully licensed.
Yeah.
Fully licensed, right? Life insurance, investment license, fully licensed. So they can help and implement those different strategies that you need to build your financial house, right? And after you've done that, now you have to clear, just like you have to clear the field, like you have to clear the property, you have to clear your mind. You have to get rid of all mentalities. You have to get a way of looking at your money. You need to have a different relationship with money. Because what happens if you don't change how you see your money, if you don't have a different relationship when it comes to money, it's not going to make a difference. You have to clear that out, because you're not going to be able to, just like in the Bible it says, you can't put new wine into old wineskins.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You have to change your perspective, how you see your finance. You have to change all that. Then you have to take step by step. Right. So those are the things necessary. Then you have to start with the foundation. Right. So those are the things you need to. So if you look at the next slide, right. What are some of the things you do? This is what your financial house should look like, right? The first thing you want to do, if you ask someone, listen, what do you think is your most important asset? They might say, oh, my house or my car. But the most important asset you and I have is the fact that we make income for our families. That's the most important asset we have, the fact that we make income for our families. Because if that were to stop, everything stops. So the first thing you want to do, that's why we believe the foundation of any financial plan, you have to have the right amount of life insurance. You have to make sure if something happens to you, God forbid, or a breadwinner, that your income keeps passing on to the family so you can maintain the house.
That's so good.
And that is the first foundation. You can't start from the top. You have to start with the foundation. Protect your income. That's the first thing you want to do. Right, to take care. Because guess what happens? You could have everything happen. You could have everything. Listen, you could have your house. You could have everything. If so happens, you, God forbid, you pass away, all the goals and dreams, because your goals and dreams you have for your family is funded through your income. So if that were to stop, everything just falls apart. So you have to protect that. So that's the first thing to do. Play defense. Just like a foundation is strong, it has to be strong. And a house. It has to be strong in a house to withstand, right? Like we're in Florida right now. Florida, it's a different state. There's hurricanes, there's different things happen. So the foundation, the way the house are built are different versus how the house is built in the Northeast, for example, right?
Yeah.
Or different parts of the country. Even windows, they have to have certain windows that can handle Category 5 hurricanes, for example, right? Those are things that are important versus in different parts of the country. So the foundation has to be strong. You can't ignore that. You have to make sure that's taken care of, right? So and how much should you have? You should have between 7 to 10 times your annual income and protection. We talked about that before. You need 7 to 10 times your annual income and protection. That's the first thing you will do. The foundation. The next step, you got to create a budget. We talked about. You have to build an emergency fund. You have to put yourself in a position that you have at least 3 to 6 months of your income saved up. So God forbid you had an emergency. That is so important, right? You have to have 3 to 6 months. God forbid you had an emergency. Because for a lot of people, the only emergency fund they have is Visa, MasterCard. Something happens. Oh, I need use credit card. Something needs to be fixed. You have to make sure that's taken care of. You have to have 3 to 6 months. Let's say if you're out of work, something happens. Things happen. Emergencies happen. If you own a home, listen, even when you have in your home, emergencies happen. Things we have to replace this, replace that. Stuff, same things happens with our lives. Our financial life, emergencies happen. That's just a part of life. So you have to have that taken care of. That's the second step.
Keep going.
The next step is you have to, we call debt. Get rid of debt. You have to get a game plan to get out of debt. You have to have some kind of, we call like a debt freedom date, right? You have to make sure that's you know exactly when you be. If you have debt, you have to look at, okay, this is the debts that I have. Based on what I'm paying, this is when I'll be done paying off. And I have to get a specific strategy that's going to get me debt free as soon as possible. Okay. That is so important. We have to get rid of debt. That is so important to make sure that debt's taken care of, right? Which is the next step. The next step after that, after you take care of debt, you have to take a look at retirement. Look at the retirement, for example, right? Now, this is why, if you think of people, when the first mindset people want to have, I want to pay off some debts. They want to get rid of debts. See, what happens is then you have an emergency. What happens, the biggest mistake people make is, we talked about in a previous episode, they take all the money they have and what they want to do. They want to pay off their debts. I need to get rid of that. I need to take care. I need to knock it out. So what happens? What they do, they take the money they have and they want to pay off all the debts. And when they pay off all the debt, guess what happens? Bad things happen, right? You pay off the debt, because you could pay off all the debt, but guess what happens to you? As soon as, let's say, you get an emergency, guess what happens? You have to get back into debt again. The best way to get out of that, get a savings. That's why you have to make sure that your emergency fund, that's taken care of. Then you take care of the debts, okay? You establish. How do you get rid of debt? You have to build savings while you're getting rid of debt. You can't get rid of all, right? So you have to make sure that's taken care of, okay?
So good, so good.
Absolutely.
Because we do that. We want to pay off the debt before having an emergency fund. So you're saying first have your emergency fund, then start building the debt.
Absolutely. Because that's the only way. Because the reason people get into debt, let's call it, they don't have enough money. You don't have enough money. So guess what happens? When you don't have enough money, you have to use credit cards. You have to take care of that. So that's debt. Now, after you're taking care of that, you're in a game plan to take care of that. Now, next step is retirement.
How many times I'm going to just say this to the folks that are watching right now live, and those that watch the replay later. Is this not a game changer? I am one that I have always thought I have to pay my debt first and then have an emergency fund. That in itself is like an eye opener.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest mistake when we've seen over the years that people, okay, I want to pay off. And what happens is you get right back into debt.
Yeah. My husband's saying I had the wrong order. Yeah. We have some folks saying, yep, you're right. Very true. This is so good. Absolutely. A lot of us had the wrong mentality here, I think. Thank you for sharing that with us. Absolutely.
Now, the next step is retirement. Now, you got to make sure you have enough money for retirement. One of the questions we ask everyone, right? And we ask, do you know your financial independence number? And when you ask them, what does that mean, right? And it's very simple. That's the amount of money you and I need to accumulate so we can live off that money for the rest of the life without going back to work. How much money do we need by the time we are retired to stay retired?
What is that number called again?
It's called the financial independence number.
Financial, okay.
Right? Financial independence number. You need to have a game plan. You need to start putting money towards your retirement, either your 401k, and make sure you get as much money as possible, or some Roth IRA or some kind of retirement plan, right? And you need to have that taken care of. Then the next step is college. After you know exactly the amount you need to have, you need to start working towards that. The next step, you need to have college savings for kids.
Yeah.
And you plan for the kids' education. So if you have young kids going to college, right, you plan for. But one of the biggest mistakes that people make, okay, and parents make, they want to take care of the kids' college before their retirement. And their mindset, well, the kids are going to go to college before I go to retire, but that's not the right thing to do. And here's the reason why. If you ever go on a plane, right, and the first thing they tell you when you get on the plane, right, and I don't know, no one pays attention to the stewardess when they're giving instructions, right? Everybody checks out. It says, before you put a mask on somebody else, you put it on yourself first, then you help somebody else. And that means, I have kids. Yes, even if you have kids, you put yourself on yourself first, then you put on your kids. What does that mean? That means you have to make sure you fund your retirement before kids' education.
I'm sure that's another one that people had flip-flopped.
Exactly.
Some of us had the first ones flip-flop, the budget and the debt. And then there's
Exactly.
other people who have the retirement and the college flip flop. Wow.
Exactly. And why is that? Here's the reason why. Because let's say, for example, kids have time to recover. Think about it. An average person. Let's say if you have kids, you might be in the 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s. You have very limited time to accumulate money for retirement. Very
Yeah.
limited time. Kids don't have that. Kids have more time than we do. Kids are 15, 16, 18. A lot of us you might be in the 40s or 50s. So you have very limited time to fund for retirement. So if you take all the money, you fund your kids' education, guess what happens? Then you're left with nothing.
Right.
Kids have options. Kids have something called scholarships that they can have, right? Kids have something called, let's say, we don't want to think about student loans, work, God forbid, unless they want to do something. But listen, there's no such thing as retirement loan.
That's right.
There's no retirement scholarships.
There's no such thing as retirement loan. Somebody needs to put that down. That's a Facebook.
There's no such thing as retirement loan. There's no such thing as scholarship, retirement scholarship. I've been a good worker. I've been good. I've been doing everything right. I need help for my retirement. Can someone give me a scholarship or a grant? There's no such thing out there.
Oof. So
No such
good.
thing. So you have to make sure that your retirement is funded.
Yep.
That's taken care of, right?
Thank you, honey.
Exactly.
There's no such thing as a retirement loan.
Retirement loans, right? And the next step is other goals and dreams you might have for yourself. What are goals and dreams you might have for yourself? Maybe you want to buy a house. Maybe you want to buy a boat. You want to buy a nice car, a different goals and dreams. The biggest mistake that people make, and the reason people struggle financially, their goals and dreams is the foundation of everything that they do. Instead of being the last thing, they said they want to get the nice car first. They don't want to protect their income. They want to get the nice house first. They don't want to create a budget. They don't want. That's the found. They flip the house, and they want. I want that first. I want that. I want the nice house first before protecting my. I want that for. And guess what? And guess what happens? And as soon as something bad happens, everything falls apart.
Yep.
Everything falls apart. See, yes, we tell you, goals and dreams are great. You gotta have, but make sure those things are taken care of first. Make sure those things. If you go step by step, if you build your house, yes, and the whole goal is, listen, we want you to live your life, but make sure you build a strong financial house.
Yeah, this is so good. Go ahead and screenshot this, guys. This is amazing.
Absolutely. Now, the next step is not let's grade ourselves, right? The next slide is let's grade ourselves how strong our financial house is, right? And those are questions you want to ask yourself, right? Number one, if you look, let's start from the bottom. Do you currently have a written game plan that addresses challenges in your financial home? Do you have that blueprint? And for a lot of people, the answer is they don't, right? And grade yourself. Give yourself an A. Right? When it printed out, take a screenshot and even take a mental note, right? So give yourself, if you have a current financial plan that addresses concern, awesome. Give yourself an A, right? And if you would want one, would you want one if it was free? For a lot of people, yes. We do something called accomplished financial needs analysis for our clients, which maps out everything, which take a look all those different aspects, right? Yeah. That's the first thing you want to ask yourself. The question number one, do you have an income replacement income? Do you have some kind of life insurance? You have at least 7 to 10 times your income. I'm not talking about a $50,000 policy or work, something from your job. That just don't make a difference. Okay. Oh my gosh. No, I'm talking about have an income replacement, like 7 to 10 times your income. If something happens, will the mortgage be taken care of? Do you have that taken care of? Would you take 1% of your income to protect the other 99%? If you ask someone, would you take 1% of your income to protect? And for a lot of people, the answer is yes. You can take 1% of your income for most people, and you can protect the other 99%. And we talked past the episode, you don't have to pay a lot of money for income protection or life insurance. It's not a lot, right? 1%, 2% max of your income can protect the other 99, 99, 98%. Now the question you're gonna have is, are you an A? Or maybe F. If you don't have anything, just give yourself an F. You grade yourself, give yourself an F. If you don't have enough, Just give yourself a C,
Mm.
right? Now, if you look at number 2, emergency fund, do you have at least 3 to 6 months of expenses in emergency fund? Do you have that 3 to 6 months? And if the answer is yes, you do, give yourself an A, right? If you don't have any, for most people, it's sad. Average person doesn't have, even for $1,000 emergency, they don't have enough savings for just for $1,000. It's just a reality. Reality, right? And guess what happened? To give yourself a D, right? Grade yourself, right? If you look at debt freedom, do you have a debt freedom date in the next 10 years? You have the game plan to be totally different in the next 10 years. Yes, you can be totally different. Even if you have some debts on mortgage, you can totally different next 10 years if you want to. Do you have a debt freedom date? You need to have a debt freedom date. If you don't have a date, know exactly this will not be out of debt. You can't guess. You can't guess. You have to know exactly this is when I'll be out of debt, right? A debt freedom date, right? Number 3. And the answer is, if you don't, F, right? If you know, A. Are you working towards it? If you're working towards that, then give yourself an A. Number 4. Do you have a plan to duplicate your paycheck at retirement? What does that mean? If you're making $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 a month when you're working, do you have a game plan to have $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month when you retire?
Wow.
And for the answer, if you don't, if you do, if you're on track, give yourself, maybe you're not fully funded, but you're on track, give yourself a C. But if you're not on track, maybe you just give yourself a proper grade, right? If you have young kids, you have something self-education account if you do, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe that may not apply. You may not have kids or kids are grown. That's different. But if you do, but make sure, listen, go every step, right? And do you have a will set up for yourself? We talked about probate, how you need to have that taken, whether you have $10 in your pocket or you have 10 million, you need to have a will. It doesn't matter. Everyone needs a will. Do you have a will set up? Some kind of something set up for yourself? And if the answer, no, I don't, then you need to, that should be part of it. So it's like a financial house, like a pop quiz. So you grade yourself. And the thing is, if you say, oh my gosh, I'm failing, don't beat yourself up. But guess what? That means we gotta adjust. That means we have to do better. It says, you know what? I'm not where I need to be. It's like you're throwing the towel. So that's it. I'm done. No, it's just, listen, I need to make some adjustments. And you can make adjustments just like that. It's just a decision. You know what? I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to take care of that. Let's have the blueprint. Let's get together. What do you want your finances to look like? Then let's have a blueprint set up for yourself, right? An analysis taking care of that, right? Let's take a look at that. Then let's adjust it. Let's take care of this first. I know you want to take care of that. I know you want to do this. I know you want to step 3 or 4. That's important, but take care of this first. Then let's take care of this. Let's take care of that. I know you want the goal. I know you want the couple. Let's take care of this first. College. I know your kids, and I know they're geniuses, and you want them to. And I know, but let's take care. Make sure your Roth IRA is funded first.
Yeah. This is so good. I had no idea when I saw the title. I had no idea that you were literally going to be showing us this amazing structure, this blueprint to see each level of the house, financially speaking. Absolutely. This is so good. I know this is an episode that we're going to have to rewatch. My husband says you're the Mr. Miyagi of finance.
I wish, right?
Listen,
wax on, wax off, right?
Exactly. Listen, folks, for those who've been watching and you've been catching up with the episodes and you've been with us since the very beginning, this is episode 29? And a lot of these conversations are powerful. A lot of these conversations are even sometimes uncomfortable as we're listening to Coach Bernard talk to us. We're saying, okay, I thought, like it's uncomfortable, but it's like you've even said it. You said the truth shall set you free.
Absolutely.
We are learning a lot of truth here today. Thank you so much for this amazing episode and for sharing so much truth with us today on how is our financial house.
Yeah, take the quiz. I know it's tough. Take the quiz. It's important. It'll set you up where you are. Then you can get on your road.
Guys, thank you so
The
much
great
for
thing
watching.
about life
This is
is
good.
the way you start is not always the way you finish. You can start bad and finish well. You
We
can
got to do it.
listen, you can start bad and finish well. You can start on a wrong track, end up on the right track. Okay. And that's the best part about that. So if you just, but you got to be willing to confront it and say, you know what, I need to get better. I need to fix this. Right.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
did it.
That email is scrolling below. That email is scrolling below for a reason. It's scrolling below because as we're watching these episodes and listening to some things, you may have some additional questions, or you may say, you know what? I need to make an appointment with this guy. I've heard enough already. I need to sit down and really go through it. Yeah. Mel says, I've said ouch so many times, but I need it. I need it. Thank you so much. Sensei Bernard. Yeah, this is really good. Thank you guys so much for joining us, for being a part of the Army Empire podcast. Yulisa, thank you for being with us, and my husband and a few more folks that are watching on Instagram and on Facebook and YouTube. I can't wait to see what you got up your sleeve for next week. Every week you get us
working.
different.
Absolutely. We have next week is gonna be a little different. Next week we were trying to get it done this week, which was it's Women's Empower March.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a couple of very powerful ladies that are gonna look and do that next week, get everything, it's the women in finance, which is very important, which I think is very healthy, and it's so important, and it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
We're gonna be talking about shopping and those kind of those things that us women like to like.
Yes.
That's gonna be funny. Listen, I used to remember my mom used to be like, wait till I go in, and then you girls come out, get the bags from the trunk and put them in the house. So dad would know that we spent extra.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's going to be a fun episode when we're just led
Mm-hmm.
to the women. All right,
Absolutely.
guys. Bernard, thank you so much. I'll see you again next week.
My pleasure. Bye, guys. Love you guys. Thanks for the support.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Army Empire podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Join us next week for another exciting edition, and until then, keep building your empire.